Hi everyone, it's Suzanne here. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm just wanting to put up this bit of a tutorial for my paper flowers. So here you can see I've got some beautiful Heartfelt Creations stamps and dies. Also I have a Tim Holtz Alteration flower die, and this one is Marianne Design flower die. So I just wanted to show you that you don't have to have these wonderful Heartfelt Creations ones, although they are fabulous. You can make a flower with any kind of die, and you can make it into a lovely full dimensional flower. So these are the Heartfelt Creations, and they cut I've cut 5 different sizes. There are more than this, but I find that 5 makes a lovely full flower. And I'm shaping them with my ball tools. So these tools have all different balls on the end. Some are quite large, 8 mils I think, down to quite pointy ones. So the cardstock I'm using is from Kaisercraft. It's smooth white cardstock, and I only ever use white, and I colour it with all different kinds of ink. So in this case I've used some Ranger Archival ink, and how hard you press that tool is going to make a difference with what your flower looks like. So I've shaped those first 3, and then I'm on to these last 2. So the last 2 parts are going to be the tight center of the flower, and for this section I color both sides of the flower because I leave the stamped side to the outside, and I press quite hard to get that cupping effect, so that they will form that very tight center. So rolling it like that makes it cup really quite tight. I always use my heat gun to dry them. I'm not sure if I told you, like, I always wet my paper, my cardstock. It's much easier to form the shape if you wet it before you start using the tools. So I've dried them off, and then I'm putting them together with my art glitter glue. So I always use art glitter glue on my flowers because, if you're going to spend the time making your own flowers, you don't want them falling apart, and art glitter glue is fabulous. Okay, so I'm up to putting those 2 for the center of the flower, but the ones underneath, you want to offset those flowers. So the second lot, you want to make sure that the petals are in between 2 petals from below, so that they're not all stacked on top of each other. So there you can see the tight center that's going to go in the middle of the flower. Okay, so just use more art glitter glue, and you want to press it down into that quite firmly, and if you press it in there quite firmly, it'll close up that the center of the flower even further. And just, with the art glitter glue, you don't have to hold it for very long. It's very fast acting glue, and it is fabulous. What I didn't show you, unfortunately, is that this has also got kind of a leaf cluster that goes underneath, and you will be able to see that at the end. I've got some still photos. Alright, this time I've got the Tim Holtz flower die, and I think I cut 5 or 6, I can't remember, and I wet them quite a bit. Give them a good spray with a little mister, and I'm really pressing quite hard with that ball tool to give it some dimension, and I'm breaking up the fibers. So that's what's happening if you're reshaping paper. You're breaking down the fibers in that paper, and you can see there I've used the quite a pointy tool there to really bend the edge of those petals over. So kind of like you can't really see it there, but it's kind of like what the edge of a carnation looks like, with that little ruffle on it. And you can see there I've really got a real cup shape to that flower. You don't have to get it to look like that. You can just roll it like I am there, and and kind of scrunch it up. It's totally up to you what shape you want them to have, but there I am again, getting that sharp tool onto the edge of those petals to give them that nice shape. Another nice, I've coloured these ones with the archive link as well, and another reason why I like to colour them myself is that you can like if you see flowers in the garden, often they have a pale and then a darker shade of the same colour in a flower, and you can really do that when you colour them yourself. I like to also use the distress inks, so that, and then when I wet it, I love to get the colours to move around, and it looks fantastic when the colours kind of blend together, and yeah, it looks really great. So here I'm right down to the tiniest little part for the middle of the flower, and all ready to dry them with the heat gun and put them together. So you want to be careful with your heat gun that you don't make them catch fire. I have almost done that a couple of times. I've got them smoking just before they light up. So yeah, please be careful if you're going to use your heat gun, and don't put it too close. So here you can see again, I'm offsetting those flowers, so you don't want them all petals stacked on top of petals. You want to put them in between the layer underneath. Okay, it just looks better. Okay, I decided I needed to colour both sides of those middle ones like I did to the last flower, because I want to, otherwise you can see one side of the paper is white and it kind of looks silly. So I did end up colouring both sides of the two pieces for the middle there, and yeah, that's it. And I think I couldn't find the other part for there, like the total middle part. I don't know what happened to it. I found it in the end, and you can see in the photographs at the end that I've popped it in there. Okay, so on to the last one now, and this is just the little Marianne designed flower, this one, and it cuts 5 flower shapes. So again, using that sharper point to turn that leaf edge over, because this time I'm just going to make this flower like a little cup. So really all that's being turned back is the very edge of that paper. So I'm pressing down quite hard after I've wet it. I'm pressing down really quite firmly on the very edge of that paper, and I'm giving it a little help there with my fingernails. I also wanted to apologise. I know you can hear that terrible fan noise in the background, but it was like 39 degrees and I didn't have any air conditioning, so I had to have the fan on. It was just blisteringly hot the day I did this, so yeah, sorry about that. I know it's quite annoying because I had it blowing into the mic of my recorder, unfortunately. So yeah, there I've coloured them, dried them, shaped them, and stacking them up, and same as before, I'm like a broken record, you want to offset those petals. Okay, for this particular one, you'll see in the still photographs at the end I've put some little stamens in the middle, because this one has got, this is a great little die because it's already got a hole put in the middle. So if you want to put something in the center, it's quite easy just to poke it down the middle there. It's also a good way of, you know, lining up your make sure your flower's nice and even if you worry about that kind of stuff. So this one's a super simple little flower to make, but they're really, really cute. Easily as nice as most of the flowers that you can buy at the shops, and super, super cheap to make if you can get some stamens from somewhere. So here are some examples of the flowers that I like to make. So these ones are using the Heartfelt Creation Classic Rose die, and you can see the leaf part there underneath. So that's my favourite. This one is the Flowering Dogwood. So this one I've used a couple of different coloured inks on here. And here's the little Tim Holtz one there. And there you can see the little stamens in the Marianne design. Thank you.